Hello, everybody, and welcome to a lovely Sunday evening. Phone going out. My microphone going out. Of my
Yes, it's
microphone
fine now
going
though.
out. It's a lovely Sunday for my microphone to not work sometimes. I'm Ryan over here on a lovely Sunday. This was a Sunday Night Heat edition of
Yes,
WrestleWatch podcast.
yes. It's what was it? What was the other Sunday shows?
Was Velocity a Sunday show?
No, Velocity. I think that was that the Saturday morning one? I remember Shotgun was Saturday night.
Oh, Shotgun Saturdays, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was always. I remember that one having a very suggestive opening sequence.
Well, I mean, anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation, as we
Yes.
as we're aware. How has your weekend been?
Well, it's been busy. Friday night I came home. I did have my CMLL $35 tier, so I was able to. Well, I'll say this. Actually, I had the tier, but I watched it elsewhere. But I did get to see the Mystico versus MJF match, which was I had to think on it, but it might be my match of the year, honestly.
Oh, really? Wow, that's
Like
high
I really
praise.
liked it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like top three.
Okay.
I have to sit down and really, and then sometimes I like to like move the matches around a little bit, but that is definitely up there. And then Saturday I had a wedding to go to,
Hmm.
so I did not watch All Out on Saturday,
Yeah.
and I did not watch WrestlePalooza. And then today I was just working all day, so I still did not watch any of those shows.
Hmm.
I'm somewhat spoiled, but not entirely spoiled. So some things might be a surprise. Like 30 minutes ago, I learned that Beth Phoenix showed up.
Well, no, no, no. She didn't show up. She's dead. Can't
Oh,
say
okay.
can't say Cope. You know. Can't say yeah. She gotta say Cope. Beth Copeland.
Beth Copeland. Yes, Beth Copeland showed up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I
Then
see. I didn't even know that.
then
Now I
she
know.
then she died. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, no, it was a fun show. I watched everything except for WrestlePalooza up till now. I got in the John Cena Brock Lesnar match. Um,
Was
which
it really as bad as people say?
yes.
Okay. Because
Um,
I feel like there's also like these matches. Okay. Like there's a thing, first of all, Brock Lesnar being awful aside,
yes.
I feel like there's also like this group of people that just hates like these Brock Lesnar squashes.
Yeah, but like I think that there is to put on my artistic review hat. There's something to be said in a medium where usually it's supposed to be the build up to finisher to only do finishers.
Ah, okay.
Because then you now weakened your finisher because you have to do it so many times, right? And
Hmm.
people kick out of it. So now you've lost the mystique of your own finisher. So either now you have to do it multiple times, or you need to come up with a new finisher. So that's something that like when you compare it to the Crossroads,
Yes.
that's the same kind of thing that's happened to that. It's like generified
Yeah.
itself. It's become a generic move over
Or
time, kind
the
of like the DDT became a generic
yeah,
move.
or the Destino. I felt like Naito at the end was using that. It was a lot of kickouts of the Destino.
Yes, which I mean, I suppose when it's, I mean, we'll chat about Naito actually today
We
to
will.
talk about the rundown preemptively, but I find that if you're somebody that is about to retire, that's okay. But if you're somebody that's
Yes.
still thinking that you're wrestling in your prime, you need to when you're coming up make sure that number one you don't get your finisher kicked out of many times, but two maybe don't even do that finisher yet until you know that you're not going to have it kicked out of.
That's I think that's valid.
And I think that like generally speaking, like a one-winged angel is like a very protected move.
Yes.
So that's just like one example that I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, that
Um,
might be the most protected move in wrestling today. I had to think about it.
yeah, but yeah. So my view on that match is that it was it's bad for them that they went 8 minutes instead of 5 minutes because that means that people can review it on Age Match.
Yes.
Um, But otherwise, I watched I watched CMLL show. Thought it was really good. Um, I enjoyed the MJF and Mystico match. Well, I thought it was very good, other than the Ray Bucanero versus Felino match, which was that's the one that ended. I don't know if you've heard. It was a hair versus hair match. Okay.
Okay.
That match ended with a double DQ,
Okay.
and so they both lost their hair,
Okay.
which was funny and interesting, but then at the same time you're kind of like, wait, what? That's how we're finishing this?
Well, I mean, it's
the
better.
The crowd was very confused about the ending.
I mean, it's better than doing a DQ and then they deciding that neither one has to cut their hair, because that would feel very.
Oh yeah. I would have, if I was I'm armchairing again. I would rather in that scenario, because it's like, oh, the stakes are so high, we can't DQ them for this, or like, both of them are begging to not lose their hair, and so they both agree to make the match restart, something like that. It was kind of funny the way that it went down with that match. But yeah, the All Out was pretty all right. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I liked the tag match, the ladder match. I liked the MJF Briscoe match. Him doing a double duty there, MJF of sorts. And yeah, I thought the Mercedes Riho match, Riho showed up very well. So
Good.
Yeah, I thought it was a overall really good show.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that all worked out. So I think we should get into the discussions, because we got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, well, let's do a rundown of what we'll chat about today. We will be going through a few talents that have been requested to us to discuss by our viewers. Those two talent are Kiera Hogan and Tetsuya Naito. We have some updates about Joe Hendry's status with TNA for the future that we want to discuss. Andrade finally was released by WWE. It seems like it's been quite a saga with many different takes on what happened there. So we'll get into that. But first, this is the last spoiler that you're gonna get from All Out, possibly for the night.
We'll see.
Who is somebody that you would have expected? Okay, so it's AEW. It's in Canada. Okay. Who are some names that you would expect to surprise appear at the show? We already talked about one, which was Beth Phoenix.
Was it Jacques Rougeau?
No, he did not appear. No. There was a Maple Leafs player that appeared.
Okay.
Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys.
Did Wayne Gretzky show up?
Nah, no. Wrong side of the country. He wouldn't care so much.
About,
Though he does have a vineyard near Niagara Falls that has some ice wine.
Okay. Was Ryan Reynolds there?
Not that we're aware of. No. But let's focus this on pro wrestlers.
Okay.
Who would you expect if it's AEW doing a Canada show to show up?
Well, probably Toronto's own Chris Jericho.
He's from Winnipeg, you stupid idiot.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he wasn't there. So that begs the question: the where of Jericho? Is Chris Jericho's time in AEW done? Now, another thing that happened throughout the night was there were some moves that were quotations of Jericho. A lion salt here, a code breaker there, things like that.
Okay.
And finally, it came to the point in the I believe it was during the main event, that somebody did the Lion Tamer, specifically the Lion Tamer, not the Walls of Jericho, but the Lion Tamer.
Who is the somebody?
It was Kyle Fletcher.
Okay.
So he's setting up for a Boston Crab. And rather than doing the full crab, he does the walls variation, with the Lion Tamer variation, which is having a knee or your leg in the back of your opponent and not fully pressing down and having their neck twist. That variation, it's very like quintessential Chris Jericho, especially early career Chris Jericho, his heel version of the Walls of Jericho. Commentary called it a high crab.
Okay.
Then they talked about Hangman challenging or trying to be the first AEW World Champion. Did not mention against who. There was a question at the also during the scrum about the status of Jericho and Britt Baker. Tony Khan, in his response, did not say their names once. When asked about Nyla Rose separately, he said her name multiple times during the response. So
that is interesting. That's a notable thing.
Yes. So, how are you feeling about Chris Jericho returning to AEW at all before his contract possibly expires at the end of this year?
So initially, I had thought that there was a possible chance that he was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I said possible, meaning that it was, there's a chance that he would leave and jump and go to WWE. And not like, thinking it was probable or something more likely, was simply because I wasn't sure if WWE is willing to pay for him. Because I do think that he is someone who would have still a bit of a bidding war if AEW were interested. But I'm starting to get the impression that maybe AEW just has seen the writing on the wall, and I'm sure Jericho's smart enough to see the writing on the wall, and perhaps it's time for him to go. And does that mean that? And the reason I only say it's probable that he goes, because I think it's probable that he is probably going to WWE now. I do think that Jericho is still someone who might do something different. Maybe he is going to just stay away for a while until he feels that he's heating up again. Maybe he just feels it's still too early, because I think it's still too early. I think if he comes back, fans aren't exactly clamoring to see Chris Jericho in AEW. Mm-hmm. So maybe he still wants to stay away. The other thing is that maybe he is going to continue to do stuff outside of both companies, because he is someone who's been very comfortable kind of bouncing around and just doing something that nobody else has done. He loves doing that. He loves being the person who's, going, being the trendsetter and doing something completely unheard of. I could see that as well. But let's be honest, WWE is also on this retirement tour kick, where they love to have talent come in and, hey, this is going to be your retirement year, and you're going to do a bunch of stuff for a year. And they seem to pay for that and see them as draws. And if we're talking about the draws that are left, I think there is a lot of money. I think there's money to be made in a one final run of Chris Jericho in WWE, especially with the current TKO, the way it's set up, where they seem to really be relying on these nostalgia acts, and Jericho would absolutely be that. So for that reason, I'm getting the impression, and I think most people are, that AEW is ready to just let Chris Jericho go. They feel that he's probably done everything he can do in the company, and meanwhile, there's stuff for him. There's a final run for him in WWE, and I think WWE would be smart to bring him in. So I think that it's a probable move that he's going to be jumping to WWE.
Yeah, so I will mention two things off of what you were mentioning about, first off, that he goes and jumps around sometimes. He's been pretty, I would say for a very long time that he hadn't been doing that. And then he went to do New Japan in 2017. The thing that I would mention with that is, number one, of course, that New Japan is a partner of AEW. So that kind of makes it a little bit difficult, possibly. But the second thing is that he was 47 when that happened. He'll be 55 by the time that he leaves AEW, if he leaves AEW at the end of this contract. That's getting it up in years, to the point where you have to wonder if he's planning on retiring after his next run, his next contract. And this is something that I also referenced in our fantasy draft that we did later in the evening last Saturday between myself and our friend Luke, sometimes appears on the podcast. I took the reins of WWE, and he was AEW. We did. It was kind of like a keepers league, for fantasy football. So you kept some people, trade. You drafted. You could trade during the draft if you're like, oh, whoa, I want to keep that person. I want to keep that person. Bring them back to me. I, as WWE, selected Chris Jericho for the reasons you mentioned about the retirement tour. I thought, they are on a kick of retirement tours. He's somebody that's not as toxic as like a Brock Lesnar for a retirement tour. He's somebody that has a lot of goodwill still, I think, with fans and with opponents. So I was thinking to myself, what? This is the kind of guy that WWE would want right now, and I really do believe that this is the kind of guy that WWE would want right now. So for those reasons, and also due to the nature of the bizarreness that he's been just out of reference in AEW. It's not that he hasn't been appearing in AEW. It's that they don't even reference him right now. I feel my gut is telling me that it's likely, but like my brain is saying just probable.
Yeah. And I think he's probably got one, as you said, he's probably got like one contract left.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the time to do that.
What do you think that if he were to stay in AEW, what do you think there's left for him to do in AEW?
I think the only thing left to do is maybe just copy the Sting retirement tour. Because I think that's essentially what we saw, is that Sting had that year of his, or was it a year? It was close to a year, right?
He had like he was with AEW for 3 years total on the roster, but he had like one kind of like farewell year, so to speak. It was more like 6 months, but yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I think you're right. It was like because he announced it like a couple pay-per-view cycles before.
I think he announced it possibly. Yeah. It was a little bit beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that retirement run, I think the industry took notice, including WWE, because I genuinely think that the retirement runs that they're trying to do with Cena, I think Sting kind of started all this, and I think we're going to keep seeing this. So maybe Jericho does his retirement run in AEW, but let's be honest, I kind of think that it would make more sense to do it in WWE.
Yeah, I think that what he has left in AEW is to essentially to put over, is to not just put over some people,
yeah,
but to reestablish himself as a main event player. And then put over people.
Yeah. Or maybe he'll do like because here's the thing. He could also, another one to follow is like Danielson. But the thing with Danielson was still like at his peak. And he was just having like all these dream matches left and right. And I just don't think you have that in AEW anymore. You might have a few of those in WWE, depending on, who you are and what you're interested in. I think that's once again why I think that makes more, regardless of what he's going to do, it makes more sense to do in WWE.
Yeah, but like I think the only dream match that I can think about already happened in 2014, Chris Jericho versus The Miz.
Yes.
So
would you? Okay.
What do we have left?
I think that they absolutely could do Jericho versus Lesnar in the worst political views match of all time. They could. I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to see Jericho versus Randy Orton for some reason. There's other people that he'll probably put over. He's never, because here's the thing, we say this, but there's a lot of people in WWE that Jericho has never worked with, and I think that some people may want to see like Jericho versus Dom, or Jericho versus Damian Priest. I think these are things that certain people in that company may want to see. So they could do it. And
I mean, also for that matter, Jericho and Seth Rollins, I think, only have, I'm looking it up now. I don't know if they've had like one televised match or one or two televised matches against each other ever.
Yeah. Jericho
That's interesting. That's like that would be an interesting one. That would be an
Yeah,
interesting feud. I have to say.
Jericho Gunther. I think they can honestly have a good match.
I mean, you say that, and then last year, what was the CMLL Anniversario main event? So Jericho versus Mystico.
Yeah. Well, I think okay, it didn't work well the last couple times, but if Jericho just has like chop fests with people,
Yeah.
sometimes it's worked really well. It hasn't the last few, but maybe it could work. If he was gonna let just work a Gunther match, I think it might work.
TC in the chat says Cody needs to get his win back from Full Gear 2019, brother. Yes, he does, so that he can lose the ability to challenge for the world title in WWE. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I was booking WWE, that's probably the first
Well,
story I would do.
It would be him and Punk or him and Cody. Honestly,
Yeah.
would be the two that you like, or him and Owens if he's healthy would be the ones that you wanted to get out of the way first, maybe, and then save one of those three as maybe like the final battle, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you have Dom as his final opponent would work as well as like a final opponent to like retire Jericho or something like that. But yeah, I think that right now I think that until we hear more, Probable is probably the best place to put him as far as our free agency tracker goes. And somebody else that we're going to talk about now, relatively speaking, about AEW is somebody that might be coming back to AEW. Uh-oh. He might be the first AEW to WWE to AEW person, right?
Yeah.
If I can find it, it's Andrade. Okay, where you go. Are you up to date on all of the ins and outs of the Andrade saga, which I think is a saga because we haven't talked about it here on the podcast.
Yes, I believe I am.
Okay.
If you want to do a brief like overview of it, that's fine. But yes, I think I am completely caught up.
Yeah. So for our listeners and viewers here on the Wrestle Watch podcast, if you're not subscribed, by the way, you should. Maybe, that's nice if you do. This past week or 2 weeks ago by now, it was last weekend, Andrade was released by WWE, and then we had a torrent of different versions of what happened over this year. The best summary of what happened that I can synthesize is that when Andrade, and this is like going back to when he left AEW, was that he was trying to get all of his family into AEW first off, right?
Yes.
So he was trying to get Charlotte in. He was trying to get Rick in. He was successful in getting Rick in. He got all of the LFI guys in, right? The White Whale was getting Charlotte in, and instead of jumping over to AEW, she re-signed with WWE. That was at the end of 2023, I believe it was. It might have been 22. Trying to think that through. I can't remember now. Off the top of my head now I'm saying that out loud. 22. It was the end of 22, I think. You know what? Doesn't matter for this story because sure. he jumps at that point to the opportunity of, wait, I can't get her here. I want to leave AEW. So that's when he does all like the stuff with Sammy Guevara, where he finds him backstage and just punches him. That kind of stuff. Trying to get fired. He tries to get fired a few different ways. Finally, Danielson kind of is like, after Danielson kind of, I've seen some people say he took over the book for Collision. That's part of why I'm doubtful about this part of the story. Was this where this came from? Was somebody that was saying that. Essentially, Danielson took him under his wing and was like, look, you can be one of the best. You need to focus on work. And he started trying. And that was around the Continental Classic happened in 2023. The first Continental Classic. And everybody saw Andrade was trying, and he was wowing people. He got a win over Danielson. And so when the match was booked against Miro, it was up in the air a little bit about which way it was going to go because AEW thought that Andrade was going to re-sign with AEW. His contract was supposed to end at the end of December 23. Andrade gets hit up by WWE, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we can get you out of that whole injury time stuff. yeah, we can get you out of that if you want to come back. He's like, yeah, sure. So he tells Tony Khan, and Tony's like, okay, well, I mean, like, I'm not gonna fight you. Your contract would be up, and if you're saying you're trying to go be with family, I get it. So, see you later. He appears in the Royal Rumble in 2024. Then he's added to the WrestleMania card in 2024 because Charlotte Flair pushes for him to get added to the card. He actually takes Dragon Lee's spot on the card after previously also saying he didn't want to do any of the LWO stuff. Okay, this is where this is starting to become some of the seeds of the issues for him in WWE, was that he vehemently did not want to be pigeonholed as a luchador. Because in WWE, what that means is that you get siloed off into the lucha corner, essentially what WCW did with the first hour of Nitro. Like, those guys, those light heavyweights in WCW, the cruiserweights, they never were going to be world champion. They were always going to have matches in the first hour, right? And so Andrade sees that with how WWE is booking the luchadors, and he's like, I don't want to be an LWO. I don't want to do something with Rey. I just want to be a wrestler who happens to be Mexican. 2025 rolls around and the problems start to mount up. He has multiple outlets are saying that he had some kind of wellness violation and suspension at the beginning of 2025. So there's been speculation about what that means. It could mean as much as he was coked out and roided out and on every drug imaginable. It could mean he just refused to take a pee test.
Yeah, and it's a lot of speculation on why that suddenly came out now.
Yes, and that's where this is gonna head on the with the actual release timeline part of this. He divorced Charlotte. This is also now he's losing his politicker, right? He's lost his politicker fingers. He's lost his politicker. He has had a wellness violation issue that they were weird about, and now AAA comes into the picture, right? So now it's harder and harder for him to get out of just being lucha match guy, right? There are some that are claiming that he was asked to work AAA. Some of them have backtracked about it. Dave Meltzer said WWE wanted him to do AAA, and Andrade didn't want to. Ibu said, originally said that was what it was, that he refused to work AAA. He even claimed that he was offered the Mega Championship. And then he's backtracked to saying he doesn't know if WWE asked him to work it, just that Andrade didn't want to work it. Fast forward then to the last few weeks, leading into Clash in Paris. Andrade just started not returning phone calls from WWE. This is when this new wellness violation comes up. And the question then becomes, okay, oh yeah, and TC adds something in the chat here. AAA owed him money, and that's one of his issues. Yes. So a known issue for Andrade was that AAA had owed him money, and he still was owed the money, and he didn't want to go back to working with AAA for that reason. Yeah. There have been reports that there's intimation that he wants to still have the door open to working with CMLL in the future. Is another reason. And the third reason is being pigeonholed into the lucha trap. So he just doesn't.
And it doesn't need to necessarily be just one of those. And probably a combo of all of them.
It's definitely a combination of those things. It's not just one of those things is going on with his dislike of AAA, and now that he doesn't have a politicker helping him, it's harder for him to get out of these things. But yeah, so he allegedly he was fired for quote unquote disciplinary reasons. This is the way that it's been phrased by a bunch of people that are getting information likely straight from WWE at this point. He wasn't responding to phone calls. There's been intimations from some that it was just that he refused to produce a sample for a wellness check, and because he wasn't responding to the phone and everything like that, they were like, well, we're just gonna fire him then, because we can't keep on with this, kind of a thing. since then, there have been reports that he had put out feelers about going back to AEW. And that the guys in AEW and TK all are fine with him. That Tony Khan, when he left, was on good terms. He has no hard feelings about the reasons for his release. That the boys backstage are all fine with him. Don't have any quotes from Sammy Guevara or anything like that, but who has also had his own disciplinary issues in AEW for that matter, but is also teaming with LFI right now. He's now a member of La Facción Ingobernable, Andrade's faction. Kind of funny how that works.
Yes.
And how that lines up exactly with when all this was starting to happen behind the scenes with Andrade. Supposedly, CMLL had some hard feelings about how things went down originally. If you remember correctly, he went down to Mexico and made some appearances with CMLL. And there was talk about having him there long term as part of a talent share. And he would have been like the first AEW signed person to get that talent share kind of thing. And get the whole, joke about AEW being a lucha laundry, where they clean up luchadors so that they can go back to CMLL. So there might be hard feelings about that, but also CMLL is kind of a company that they, especially now that where they're at right now as a promotion, being proudly Mexican made and all those things, and having brought back into the fold people like and allowing for people like Bandito and Commander and Beast Mortos to appear in CMLL and get high profile matches, hologram. So yeah, I think that it's possible that we could be looking at that's my take on it. Now we're getting to my take. Is I think that it's very likely that he's going to show back up in AEW or CMLL within the next month or two. I think by the end of the year, I would not be surprised to see him in Arena Mexico. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the Continental Classic. That's where I'm at right now with it.
I think it's very likely that he'll be back in CMLL. Whether or not he goes back to AEW in terms of an actual full-time AEW contract, I'm not sure on that. I'm kind of 50-50. And if I'm being honest, if I was the person in charge of AEW, I would not invite that guy back. I would say no. I think that, and I'll be honest, and the reason I'm 50-50 is because I know that Tony Khan is he's been very careful lately about what he says, more so than, he's not posting on Twitter about people as much anymore. And it would totally make sense to me that, he's going to be nice and about Andrade when he left, because that was the thing. When he left, he was very open to say there's no bridges burnt and everything, blah, blah, blah. But he could just been, being diplomatic about that. I could believe that. And as you said, he did get, pushed well on the way out. But I mean, Andrade could be professional when he wants to be, I'm sure. But I could see him back in AEW, perhaps, as you said, in the Continental Classic, but perhaps as a CMLL talent. I could see him potentially having a dual contract like Hechicero, or maybe it's a thing where Tony Khan is trying to, be a good partner, and he's going to help CMLL out by, helping get a contract with him. But I could see that happening for sure. If it was me though, I wouldn't be bringing this guy back. I think it sets a bad precedent. Even if the people backstage are okay with him, he assaulted a coworker. He assaulted someone backstage. I mean, you're going to bring him back. I mean, I don't care how people feel about it. I mean, that's a bad precedent to set. So, but having said that, I think I'm 50-50 on if Tony Khan will bring him back. So I'm putting him at toss up. I think he's a toss up.
I think it's certain that he's coming.
Yeah.
I think it's certain that he's going to sign a contract with either CMLL or AEW.
Oh,
Like,
I think he might sign with CMLL. I
yeah.
think I think that's very likely.
Well,
I don't know if I would say certain.
well, it sounds like you're above toss up then.
Is do we consider
We don't
are we?
remember Iwatani.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah. So do we think that Andrade is noteworthy enough for us to be tracking him?
Yes, absolutely.
Is CMLL a company that has exclusive contracts with wrestlers?
Yes.
So do we think that there's a chance that he could sign with CMLL?
Yeah, there is. I still okay. Yeah, there is, and you're right. So yeah, I think that's good discussion point. I think there's a good chance he's probably might be certain.
Yeah, maybe I'm being ballsy by saying certain, but as TC points out in the chat here, he's already been announced for a match in Mexico for an indie there, so either they
Well,
don't care
it's for
or he doesn't have a 90-day.
it's part of the Crash, right?
Yeah,
I don't even know who
Tijuana.
is
Yeah,
part of the Crash anymore because they were like AAA aligned for a long time. I felt.
yeah. Well, because that was the way that that was like AAA's calling card was that they didn't have people under super exclusive contracts, and they worked with those indies a little bit more than CMLL did.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't, or yeah, it might be. Yeah, it's in Tijuana. Yeah, the match is in Tijuana. Yeah. So yeah, he's already booked for a match October 3rd. It is. It's next week. It's in a week or two. It's happening with that part of things. But I don't know who's on the card for that or that show there. That would be interesting to check as well.
I will say this: it will be interesting to see if Andrade goes back to AEW, if this is going to be like a reverse CM Punk situation in the sense that he left one company disgruntled, then he left the other company disgruntled, and then he went back to the first company, and now he has to behave. Is that going to be the same thing with Andrade?
I think so. So here's why I think so. When he was disgruntled with WWE, well, so he wasn't disgruntled with WWE.
He got released, but he got released, but he still. I think there was still. He wasn't happy with his position.
He wasn't happy with his position, but he got released. So so for the first step of that, he didn't have the disgruntlement that CM Punk did about WWE. He wasn't the grass isn't greener on the other side about it when he was in AEW. So that's
neither here nor there because we're considering we're doing the CM Punk comparison, AEW is the first promotion.
Yeah. So where I'm getting to with this is that so he goes to AEW, he sees okay, well it's not as perfect as I want it to be, but I can make it work. Well, oh wait, I can't get everything I want. Now I'm not gonna try to make it work. I'm gonna try to get fired. Somebody believes in me. Now I'm gonna try to make it work. So it's like he's flip flopping a little bit about all those things, right? He's disgruntled. He goes to WWE. He thinks that it's gonna be perfect, right? He gets there and it's not perfect. So now he this entire time that he was in AEW, oh yeah, I gotta get back to WWE. It's gonna be great when I get there, my wife's there and Triple H loves me, and it's gonna be great. Now he knows it's not gonna be great if he ever leaves AEW or CMLL again, right?
Yeah.
He knows now for certain the grass was not greener on the other side for him, so he's going to, I think, be on better behavior. I think that it's more likely that, what you were saying about, CMLL might be his primary, for a little bit there. I think that he has more to offer to CMLL right now than he does to AEW right now. I think that he offers a lot to both in ring. But I think that where CMLL is right now is one of they're in their hottest era in a while, right?
Yes.
And I think that the next thing, if they bring back somebody that left to go to America, right? That's kind of big for them as a promotion. Even if it's somebody that, you might say oh, well, he's a disgruntled dude, he's assaulted people, blah, blah, blah. It still is for CMLL. They can still say we brought one of them back. We can do it again. You know, like that can
hmm
be kind of their feeling about it, and so like they can have another thing on another hat to wear along with the Mexican made hat. You know, so that's why I think that like that's I think that at this point, as your question was coming up, I think that this is his punk to PG Punk era will happen.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I don't see him being if he goes back to AEW. I think
He's on
he will
best
be a
behavior, and
yes, he will be a broken man,
and I
so
think
to
that
speak.
and I think that the locker room backstage at AEW now will not allow for anybody to mess with it.
Yeah. And he probably got his this is the ego check he probably needed, if we're being completely honest.
Well, the ego check, I believe, is in NXT, which is getting us to our next topic here. Say his name and he appears. So, it was reported recently. I saw it in a Wrestling Observer as one of the outlets that was saying this, and I've seen a few other scoopster types saying this, that the reason why Joe Hendry has not been appearing much in TNA and being pushed hotly is because there is a belief in TNA that when his contract runs out at the end of the year, he will immediately go to WWE. It has been reported that I think it was Sean Ross Sapp said that he does not currently have a WWE contract, but he has heard similar about his contract status. So, um, is it time to
Yeah.
leave, make some space up at the top that Hikaleo vacated, and we're gonna have somebody inserted now?
That's what I did. I put Joe Hendry as certain. I think it's only a matter of time before he makes the jump officially to WWE. He's basically there now.
Yeah.
Uh, TNA just, you know, that it's a company it's clearly a puppet promotion at this point, and they're just gonna do whatever. So yeah, I think I would be surprised if he's not in WWE in the imminent future.
I would be very saddened for TNA if so. Did you see this past week that there is a storyline that's going to be going on between TNA and NXT? Did you hear about this at all?
A little bit.
So NXT on Tuesday, come Tuesday, had their homecoming show at the Full Sail venue, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the tweets.
And there was all those tweets, yeah.
Yeah.
And then nobody from TNA showed up that night. Uh, but there's supposed to be a match coming up between Trick Williams and Obafemi, and that they're allegedly TNA people are gonna show up or something, and they're gonna try to do an invasion storyline with TNA. That's allegedly what's gonna happen. I would number one, I think that's a bad idea. But number two, because one of the promotions has to lose,
Yes.
you know. But number two, I'm so worried that what they're gonna do is have Joe Hendry defect from TNA as part of this, because like that is the most like you are just a puppet thing to happen in this scenario, right? Like,
Well, I have to ask this. Is it weird that at this point we still have not like gotten any news on the supposed TV deal for TNA?
I think that's interesting. I think the same thing with AAA, also for that matter. That we haven't heard any progress. It's possible that maybe they were talking to Peacock. I know that they were talking to Peacock actually. But it's possible that after everything that happened with the whole like ESPN WrestlePalooza getting out of the Peacock contract stuff, that maybe Peacock's kind of like, well, like, screw them.
Yeah. Like it felt like 2 months ago there was a lot of talk, and now it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And it just feels weird that it just suddenly went radio silent.
It's also interesting to me. I don't know if you saw last weekend was the latest AAA Worlds Collide show that they did. This
Yes.
one was in Vegas. It was the show where they famously yelled "You sold out" about the Mania card. But I thought it was interesting that it was essentially like a Raw versus Raw versus AAA kind of show, which kind of puts it a tier above the partnership with TNA and NXT, because like AAA is being treated as like somewhere that main roster people can appear, whereas NXT, the only place for TNA people is in NXT. The only place
Right.
for NXT people is in AAA. I mean in TNA. So it's like this hierarchy is it's appearing to itself.
It seems like it.
Um,
And that it's just, yeah.
TC in the comments says if TNA isn't getting a TV deal out of all this, then becoming a WWE puppet states for no reason is a huge oof. Yeah. Um, like, I mean, like their live show, like it seems that their pay-per-views and their TV isn't popping off from all this. Their live shows, their live events seem to be doing well on tickets from all this. So like that's been a good at least. But yeah, like if like they do this invasion storyline thing and TNA gets buried through it and then they keep on losing all these talent to WWE, it's kind of like, okay, like what's TNA doing here, Like this isn't the same as like the whole like I don't know. It just is weird. It's all weird.
Yeah. And we're gonna find out for sure, but it does I'm gonna it feels like maybe the new toy is they're losing interest in it.
Well, because they have a new word toy in AAA.
Yes.
And so let's get through two of these viewer requests of topics that people wanted us to talk about. One of them was about Kiera Hogan. Her contract expired with with AEW recently. She hadn't been wrestling for around a year now. She was appearing in a reality TV show recently as well. Do you think that there's any possibility of where do you think things are going for somebody like Kiera Hogan in the current wrestling environment? If she stays in wrestling, that is.
Yeah. I think that she's kind of had her shot. They weren't, and it's not really. It didn't. Not saying it didn't work. I mean, she was a nice little wrestler. She had, little ROH run. Oddly enough, during All In Texas, she and Diamante were both like doing just like fan meet and greet things outside of the stadium and just doing like almost like a little pre-show thing, a stage show, and that's about it. And then Diamante is still wrestling in Ring of Honor every now and then, but yeah, Kiera Hogan, I there's never she just never really picked up. So I think that it's fair to say that if she's gone, I don't see anyone else noteworthy picking her up. And I don't think that she's a noteworthy enough talent. So I would not put her on the tier list. I don't think she's worth tracking.
Yeah, she's appearing in a show that's called Jocelyn's Cabaret. She described wrestling as a stepping stone, and as
Oh,
like as her introduction to the further entertainment world as well.
well, good for her.
Yeah. I think that that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't think that she's I think that she's a decent talent. But like it seems that her focus is not in wrestling any longer. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't I wouldn't put her on our tracker. Um
Yeah.
and then we also had a request to finally talk about Naito. Who we've put off talking about. I feel like we talked about him a little bit when he initially left New Japan.
Hmm.
Recently there was a interview with Tokyo Sport where he mentioned that he doesn't see himself signing to any other Japanese promotion because of his loyalty to New Japan. I'm gonna ask you for your thoughts on that specific quote because I've seen people looking at it two different ways. One is that they think it means he is not going to sign to a Japanese promotion, and my way of looking at it is him saying, "I'm just freelancing. I'm waiting for New Japan to call me back up."
Yeah, I think that. Oh, and here's the third way though. He got his release. He was maybe going to explore other options, and those options didn't really pan out. So now he's saying, I'm just freelancing, and then eventually maybe I'll go back to New Japan. That's another option.
Yeah.
I think that, and here's the thing. Obviously, Naito has a lot of medical issues, specifically with his knees, and maybe I don't know his medical situation. Maybe he just really needed a break. Maybe he needed some time to try to heal up, whether that's on its own and just doing some physical therapy to recover this. Maybe he does need maybe he's going to try some treatments. I don't know. And for that reason, maybe he thought it would be a good idea if he just like went away for a while and then he can come back looking a little bit better. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the idea that, if Naito is saying that he's considering potentially going back to New Japan, even if he's saying it in a roundabout way, he's arguably still the biggest star in Japan.
Like right now, that's still in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So I think that for that reason alone, he's someone that it's smart to keep an eye on.
I'll mention that's not going to retire on January 4th.
Yes. Fair point. But and let's be honest, it's a coin toss on which one is more beat up and banged up between those two.
I putting back on my reviews cap for a second, I have enjoyed Tanahashi matches in the past year far more than I've enjoyed Naito matches.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe that's the dance partners he's getting, but I watched Naito in the G1 last year. I've seen him with everybody. I think I have a fair sample.
You do.
I've seen Tanahashi versus Takeshita. That's the best he's gonna do too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So for that reason though, I do think we should put him on the tier list. I didn't necessarily want to go that high yet, since this is just the first hint that we've heard anything indicating this. Maybe it's something that in the coming months, maybe as we approach, the new year, as we approach January 4th, maybe I'll start reassessing that. But I said for now that I put him at the unlikely tier on the tracker. I think it's unlikely that he's coming back to New Japan, and that's the only place I really see him going right now. I don't see him going anywhere in the United States. I don't think AEW is bringing him in. Frankly, I never felt like he enjoyed being in AEW the times that he actually did wrestle in AEW, and I don't think he'd go to WWE either.
No, that was just his gimmick. His gimmick said he doesn't care.
Yeah, I know. I still, I don't think he enjoyed it. I never got that impression. And yeah, so I think that I would go unlikely.
I'll add by this is like the full quote translation from the Tokyo Sports article. He has upcoming dates. So far, post leaving New Japan, he did 2 matches with Rev Pro in August. And that's it. He is due to do some dates with I know that he's doing WXW in next week in Germany. And then he will also be doing another appearance with Rev Pro. But this was the quote that he had in Tokyo Sport. Also was regarding the fact that he has some problems with getting visas right now with the U.S. It seems. So he says the feeling from my entrance when I said my feelings for New Japan, my dedication for New Japan are unmatched by anyone. That sentiment still remains. At least to some extent. Right now, when it comes to domestic rings, Japan, New Japan is the only option I'm considering. But I left there with the courage to take that step, the next step. If my only domestic option is limited to New Japan, then I want to fight overseas in places that I've never seen myself live before. So yeah, and he also has had difficulty with. It's probably because he doesn't have New Japan promoting his visa. For the U.S. Or AEW co-signing it. So that might make it difficult for him to do work in the U.S. He's doing dates in Europe, but those promotions, I don't see him, signing to Rev Pro, who also doesn't really. They have a few people that are on guaranteed deals, sure, but it's a handful of people. Like Oku, you know. So, I think that essentially what we're looking at here is it's either that he's going to go back to New Japan or he's freelancing. Those are the two things. And I don't think I have low confidence in him going back to New Japan. Maybe if after this Tanahashi tour they want to do one for Naito, sure. But
I think there's a good chance that might happen.
But I think that's the only way. So essentially, he has to hope that Shinsuke doesn't come. Because then his knees will not survive until Shinsuke's tour's over.
Listen, you know how we were looking at All Out to see if Jericho would show up. I think right now we're looking at the Tokyo Dome to see if Naito shows up.
Maybe, yeah. I just think that like my confidence is low on him appearing anywhere, signing anywhere in the next year. Not just appearing, but signing.
So what has the committee decided?
We're gonna put him in the remote tier. He's getting added to our tracker, which is now on screen if you're watching on YouTube. So we can work our way down the lovely, lovely, lovely tracker, which I will now also post in a place for see if you'd like to. We have up in the certain tier for our audio listeners, Joe Hendry. He is
I believe in Joe Hendry.
He's all alone there in the certain tier. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. Joe Hendry is nothing if someone who I am certain about. And I am always certain about Joe Hendry. The only person I am more certain about is Andrade. And here's the thing with Andrade. Now that we've already kind of discussed it. First of all, where is Andrade at now?
Oh, so let's go down to the likely tier, which is currently Ninja Max, Zozaya, Mike DeVicchio, Adam Priest, Michael Oku, and Andrade.
Well, the one thing, regardless of where Andrade goes, I think he might behave. I really do.
I think he will this time. Or he knows that he has nothing really left.
Yes.
Especially with like the way that we've discussed a little bit here and there on the podcast, especially over the past year, of I'm calling it the new territory system with wrestling. There is a proliferation of just having kind of two territory systems that are parallel systems. There's the WWE territories and the AEW territories, and one of them is okay if you play with the other one, and the other one doesn't allow you to play with anybody else.
Yep.
And so I think Andrade might, when he goes to CMLL and AEW again, I think that he will see that and understand that again, you know?
Mm-hmm. By the way, did you see Ray Phoenix is doing comedy stuff with R-Truth now?
Did you see that R-Truth told us how to use the ESPN app to watch WrestlePalooza and then proceeded to put his phone in a toaster to download songs?
Welcome back, R-Truth.
A real voice of reason for us.
Yep.
Probable is Dakota Kai, Danhausen, and Chris Jericho.
Okay.
That feels like a good batch there. They all kind of mesh together to me.
Yeah, although I think that I might nominate Dakota Kai to us to consider in a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that I think it's time to have a discussion about King Coda.
We have Toss Up is just the British wrestler Riho. Impossible, we have Private Party, Sari, Priscilla Kelly, and Shayna Baszler. I think that Shayna might be going down a tier or two. It seems like she's been, flirting with doing producer work with WWE, or that WWE wants her to do that at NXT.
Listen, her entire run in WWE was like, we know you have something, we just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And I get the impression that maybe they haven't given that up on that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's sticking around, especially if they're going to offer a spot.
In Unlikely, we have Gabe Kidd, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bailey, Bozilla, Miyu Yamashita, and AJ Styles. I think it might be time to move Gabe Kidd down another tier, personally. Jordy Boy Pack's back, so they don't need the replacement Pack.
Well, see, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Now I know that. That's fine.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I'm good. I'm happy to hear that though.
Yeah. And then down in a remote, we have Karrion Kross, Persephone, Leon Slater, Saraya, The Miz, Isla Dawn, Maki Ita, Masha Slamovich, Dragon Lee, and Tetsuya Naito.
That sounds good to me.
Naito. Thankfully, the cameras were off during that time. Yeah, no. Oh, you know what? You know what that reminded me of was that there is sick ass move that happens during All Out that I had to watch back because I was trying to confirm whether it was Destino or La Mystica, and it was La Mystica that somebody performed, and it was very nice.
Okay.
And this was in a women's wrestling match.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to watch All Out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've decided.
Okay.
I have time. I am going to be having a slower day at work, so I can have it on another screen while I'm doing work. So I'm going to do that.
I'm going to probably fly to the Netherlands tomorrow.
Okay.
To do what Stephanie McMahon told me to do, to watch the remainder of WrestlePalooza, which I've heard not great things about the rest of the card, except for the EO Sky versus Stephanie McMahon match. I heard that was very good. So,
yes.
And those are two people that I quite like their wrestling style and their chops. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing that match. I have one hot take for you to end tonight's broadcast. Okay, if you could respond to this hot take.
Okay.
It's a fan from Poland writing into us. These one-letter faction names are ass, the Demand, the Vision, the Bloodline. Figure out a cool name with a mission statement or a pun or go home before the top wrestling faction becomes the Vagueness or something.
Wait, they're one letter? You mean one word?
One word, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say this. I think that here's my hot take.
Hot take.
Every single one of those factions that start with the word the, if you take the word the away, it sounds infinitely cooler.
Shield.
Sure.
Vision.
Yep.
Bloodline.
Yeah.
Demand.
Yeah. See, they should just the word the just like softens it and it makes it not as cool.
Swirl.
Yeah. I like that.
Who's fighting today? Young Bucks versus Swirl.
Well, listen, because it's also a very Stardom thing. So you got like hate.
Yeah, I like hate.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa! Let's not clip that. Unless that's what Tekla was saying during her AEW Unrestricted interview, where she was asked about how Triangle of Madness came about. If there would be more members, would it become a quadrilateral of madness? And she was like, "I just wanted it to be called Madness. That's all I want."
She knows what's up. It's what it should be.
She wanted to be American extension of hate.
Yes.
She just wants it to be Hate America, which, you know, but, she wants it to be that. That's what the faction she wants it to be.
It should have just been Madness.
Should have been just Madness. But, like, yeah, I think she's open to the idea of other members joining that and making a faction proper. So, yeah, that's really pretty cool. And it seems that Conglomeration now solidly has Harley Cameron as a member. So that is another faction now with multiple women members.
Conglomeration, not the Conglomeration.
The Top Tie.
Yes.
It is solely become Hantai USA, and I really like that. And I think that Death Riders, when you watch it, you'll see what I mean by this. They have increasingly just become House of Torture, in, I think, a good way recently. Because that's hard
Okay.
to say. That's a hard comment to say, but that's my hot take. Is that
So isn't House of Torture in a good way just Bullet Club though?
don't worry about it. So that is going to end it for us for this week's episode of the Wrestle Watch podcast. If you're not subscribed to us on audio feeds, we are on all podcast platforms. We're on YouTube as well. And we also have a Substack where you can get long form articles from us. We will also be doing a little bit more of those fun streams like we did last week with the fantasy draft between AEW and WWE in the future. So stay tuned. Doug, do you have any parting words?
I do not.
All right.
I'm gonna go to bed. That's my parting word.
All right. Stay spicy, dreamy boy.